So I'm reading the Chronicle the other day. I've been hanging on to this for several days. And in the editorial section, the headline is "No Endorsement in U.S. Senate Race."
Why would a major newspaper in the state not endorse somebody for the Senate?
Californians are left with a deeply unsatisfying choice for the U.S. Senate this year. The incumbent, Democrat Barbara Boxer, who is one of your real liberal icons in the Senate, really.
Well, sure, she's
a symbol,
and
anyway.
She's been senator in California for a very long time, and the
18 years.
Chronicle won't back her.
Here's what they have to say about Barbara Boxer, which I think is the most interesting part for reasons I'll explain. The incumbent Democrat Barbara Boxer has failed to distinguish herself during her 18 years in office. There is no reason to believe that another 6-year term would bring anything but more of the same uninspired representation. Boxer, first elected in 92, would not rate on anyone's list of most influential senators. Her most famous moments on Capitol Hill have not been ones of a legislative accomplishment, but of delivering partisan shots. Although she's chair of the Environment and Public Works Committee, it is telling that leadership on the most pressing issue before it, climate change, was shifted to Senator John Kerry because the bill had become so polarized under her wing. For some Californians, Boxer's reliably liberal voting record may be reason enough to give her another 6 years in office, but we believe Californians deserve more than a usually correct vote on issues they care about. They deserve a senator who is accessible, effective, and willing and able to reach across party lines and achieve progress on the great issues of our times. Boxer falls short on those counts. Now, why won't the Chronicle endorse her opponent? The answer's pretty clear to me. But I'll get to the punchline in a minute. The challenger, Republican Carly Fiorina, has campaigned with a vigor and directness that suggests she could be effective in Washington, but for an agenda that would undermine this nation's need to move forward on addressing serious issues such as climate change, health care, and immigration. So in other words, Carly Fiorina is on the wrong side of climate change, health care, like Obamacare, and immigration.
So they don't like her politics, and they think Barbara Boxer is just not very effective.
A useless piece of crap is...
easy!
We're pithy back where I grew up. They used a lot of fancy words to say she's a useless piece of crap. We agree with her on everything, but she sucks so badly, we can't endorse her. That's astounding out of the Chronicle. What a statement by the Chronicle.
It's interesting how some senators, there's only 100 of them, 2 per state, but some of them, and often from very small states, become such giant figures in politics.
Right.
Your John McCain's, your Tom Daschle from South Dakota, of all places.
Right.
Bob Dole from Kansas, of all places.
Right.
People like that. Ted Kennedy. And then a lot of senators, including from big states, just, how many people in the country even know who Barbara Boxer is unless you live in California? And, we're a big, powerful state. Dianne Feinstein's a lot closer to the whole national figure thing, but still, California has not had a heavyweight for a long time.
Yeah, Dianne Feinstein at least is respected as a human being.
So I wonder how you rise up through those ranks as, a guy from South Dakota or wherever and become...
It's a hell of a lot easier than it is in California. In the past elections, Boxer's had the good fortune of having Republican opponents who were inept, underfunded, or on the fringe right, or a combination thereof. Her opponent this time, Fiorina, is proving to be articulate, well-funded, and formidable. Then they say, unfortunately for Californians who are eager for change, Fiorina has firmly staked out positions that are outside of the state's mainstream values and even its economic interest. The list only begins with her openness to offshore drilling, her opposition to the Roe v. Wade abortion rights ruling, and her unwillingness to support even the most common-sense gun control measures to keep assault weapons off the street or deny guns to suspected terrorists on the federal no-fly list. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah.
I doubt Carly Fiorina is pro-guns to terrorists.
I can't believe how hard it is for me to buy a gun, so I can't believe it's real easy for people in the no-fly list to buy a gun.
Yeah, and God, the whole abortion canard, it's not going to change. It couldn't possibly change in a state like California. It's not even conceivable.
Even if the federal law were overturned, which is not going to happen.
No way.
But even if it did, it would revert to the states, and almost all the states are pro-choice.
Right.
So,
and California sure as hell is. So it's an impossibility built on an unlikelihood hiding behind a never in a million years. So
yet, people run on one side or the other all the time.
Yeah. It is a dismal choice between an ineffective advocate for causes we generally support and a potentially strong advocate for positions we oppose. Neither merits our endorsement for the U.S. Senate. There could not be a more glowing and heartfelt endorsement for Carly Fiorina than what I have just read, in my opinion.